Oh, I see.
Okay, here we are. This is for July, the alchemical read long spoon issue. And I'm Robert.
And I'm Suzanne. We're Clarity.
I'm Sandra.
I'm Suzanne. I'm Christina.
And here we have it.
Yes.
And let's see, with this month, which has been a very busy one.
We are the Red House family.
Yes, we are.
This is our tabletop.
And we're getting the issue out a little bit later than normal, but it's because we've had such a creative influx going on that in order to handle and balance and move everything, this is what it's taken.
Yeah, and with all the heat and everything, there's a lot of levels.
A lot of levels here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, hello everyone.
Hello.
And we wanted to start out with, we finally got on the Guardians of the Heart Oracle, which we had hoped to have on a couple issues ago, but it finally all coalesced and came together, and so we have it here for this issue. And we intuitively pulled one of them, which is number 26. You want to read the
and these collages are pretty much fundamentally made with the Guardians of the Heart, including.
Yes.
So you go ahead and read it, please.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're all here. We're just going to talk. This is going to kind of be the conversation.
The springboard for our
conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So number 26 in it is with this wonderful collage, and it says the conversation around the collage is the order of a composition is only true if it is intuitively founded in its place and position where truth resides. Let me make that bigger and you can read.
So in that true intuitive listening, it's like the first word, first truth, before it gets all rearranged to please everyone.
I love it before it gets rearranged.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you can read that, can't you? Is it big enough?
The order of a composition is only true if it is intuitively founded in its place and position where truth resides. So it's like you're not rearranging it, putting it in a different order. It's actually residing where it fits together.
Mm-hmm.
Each element must find its rightful place within the composition, carefully selected based on its position to harmonize with the whole. And this happens when we paint, but it also happens when we live.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole thing is like what we live inside and outside. When the components are aligned in such a way that feels intuitively correct, and there's a whole learning process of what intuitively correct feels like.
Mm-hmm.
The composition transcends mere arrangement and becomes a manifestation of truth. You know how people say, "Oh, I don't know why, but I feel it in my gut."
Mm-hmm.
That's very much that.
Yeah.
This intuitive understanding of structure and placement is what ultimately breathes life into the work, guiding viewers or readers to connect with its inherent order on a profound level, because when it is in its own inherent order, there is a potentiality of engaging the profound will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to engage, because living a life that's really true to yourself is living a life of profound will. And so that's our conversation.
Love that.
So just everybody, what do y'all think?
Well, when I first read it, I was really struck by the idea when it talks about composition and the work, and it can be seen in so many ways, especially for creative people. But I also realized that it is so universal. It's talking about the composition and the work of your life. You know, your world can be composed, and this information is amazing about realizing the importance of the life that you are creating, that about position and place in it, and your position and place in it. And we've talked a lot of times over the years about how hard it is to find your own position and place. And a lot of times you're feeling somebody else's push, or like you should be doing something else, or you should be focusing on something else, and not realizing that you're getting pushed out of the position that you're meant to hold in this world and in your own life. And when you're
Or the saying that I will not support you
right,
if
if
you follow this. If you
Right.
don't come into the position I want you to be in.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get knocked out of the position that you specifically, uniquely came into this world to be in, then you have vacated the importance of what you were here to do.
Wow.
You know? And somebody else is gonna try to step in, and then they're out of the position they were meant to do. And so often it's easy to get moved out of that place and position because of judgment, of feeling like that what you feel intuitively and are guided to do is not in keeping with what the rest of the world expects of you, or what you think is okay, or what they think is okay. And so again, you know, it's very complex, and it's very intricate, and it takes time to understand and learn that subtlety throughout your everydayness of finding where you've gotten knocked out of position and place, or what is the position and place of that day. You know, no matter what you're composing in that day, whether it's a meal, or it's something you're writing, or painting, or music that you're
Or in the
producing,
garden.
or in the garden, exactly.
Well, I was just thinking about that actually, how I think that this paragraph would be really important to take a screenshot of and actually read that and the collage before I sit down and play a piece of music, because I feel like that describes that place that you want to go to really
Aw.
beautifully,
Mm-hmm.
where the truth resides. And I feel like that's a place that sometimes you have to go, you have to feel kind of tucked in and
Mm-hmm.
tucked away, and not, you know, go to this place where you feel like you can sit inside of that space.
Because
And
it's kind of fragile.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
Can
like,
be intruded upon easily.
and more I'm finding more things, like trying to just make sure like there's no peepholes or anything like that. I just feel like tucked in around the piano, but I just feel like that will plow through a lot of the other sounds, and I feel like it'll help me actually enter that space really
And I
with
think,
real clarity in that way.
and I think one thing that people will find as they're looking through this issue of The Long Spoon, and especially with the flip books, because what there is a strong intuitive movement signal that's being picked up is the word ease. So the
Yes.
embattlement that was in the conversation initially with this is really leaving.
Yeah.
So the positive, uplifted, levitational aspect of what this is talking about is how it transcends all the difficulties. It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
puts you in a
Right.
position of ease.
Yeah.
So listening intuitively puts you in that place and position of ease, so that all these things, the music can come to you easily. The ideas that you're in the middle of begin to come more easily. The struggle is dropping away, and that's what this past month we've
Yeah.
seen in the chemical read classes, the magazine, the flip
Yeah.
books, is showing us. And so these guardians of the heart are showing us each one of these positions within each of the numbers that are within this
Yeah.
book are showing the ease of what, by contemplation of what's being said, and the conversation with the collages, are showing how to connect with the flow.
Yeah.
Today we were listening to one of the playlists that we had on Spotify, and it's called Yoga Flow.
Uh-huh.
And it was just such an easy, gentle movement through the whole day while we were out in the garden. working on the long spoon today,
Uh-huh.
and so the structure and the placement and the place and the position come into an alignment, which is what you're talking about. The components come into alignment.
I love that. That's a really good point.
I loved what Christina said, because she said, peepholes. Is that it is when you're creating intuitively, everything that comes in, because it is intuitive, maybe things that you are not familiar with.
Right.
And what happens is that you need room around it. You're unfamiliar with what maybe you played or we drew or we wrote, and you need that moment to become comfortable yourself. You don't, when other people sometimes are watching or listening, you come into their interpretive field even before you're in your own.
Yeah.
And then what happens is people are so great in their ahs and oohs and they're not, and their whatever feeling level, and you feel it, and then you have to kind of wade through their feeling level position to get back to your own, and maybe all your feeling level is to accept it, because these pieces, they are collaborative, and one piece may not sit like be wow, and another piece is, but the one piece that's not wow is probably doing something to help the position held for the other piece.
Yeah.
And so when we do a series, we don't do just wow. We have wow, and then we have whoa, and then we have
Ooh.
what is that? But all of them are here because they are together. They're making each other possible.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good
Yeah.
visual.
And that this world is not very familiar with.
Not at
No.
all.
Yeah.
We don't
All,
really allow it.
yeah. It's just like in movies. You have the movie stars that are wow, and then you have the other people that make it possible for them to do the scene. And so it's not like that you shouldn't wow, but it's like your wow shouldn't be a judgmental field that actually has an opposite direction for the others.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay.
Each element finds its rightful place within the composition.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And so it is good to protect your work. While you're working with it. Robert and I used to be able to just do it anywhere, anytime, and we still can. But the trickiest of our work, and sometimes the most balancing part, we do by ourselves, so that it has room to balance us, and then has room to be what it is in the world. I love that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I think it's this is really, really pretty much the seed essence of how we live. It's pretty much the seed essence of the fragile and delicateness of an intuitive life, and also working together in an intuitive life. This pretty much is the things that we look for, that when the components are aligned in such a way that feels inherently correct, then there's a potential for the composition to transcend mere arrangement. And people, like, if you arrange your flowers, they would sit there working with it as an arrangement, but they don't have the other level where certain flowers actually animate others, and it's like you lose. Sometimes we lose the whole thing because we judge everything by one thing, so we lose all the other components. And in a family, that can happen easy. All of us do different things here in this family, and I remember that when people would come to dinner, they'd look at Robert and I like, well, what did we do? And it's like, it was like they had no idea.
They were sitting inside what we
Because
did.
They were sitting inside of what we did.
The atmosphere
And they
we
only
created.
recognized the food of the meal, but they didn't recognize the dailiness of what we do that creates the ease of that food being
That's right.
prepared.
The,
And
the details of the components.
yeah, the
made it
details
up.
of the components. And we've gotten pretty smart about it with people. We pretty much protect each other. Where people are blind to a lot of things, and so they only notice some, and then it's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful because in our daily life we don't live that way with each other. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then there's even another layer to all of that where there's menu planning that you all are a part of that process as well, and so there's the food, that note for the food, and
It's to
it's
be
something that
prepared,
takes
yeah.
it takes all of us to listen to what the notes are for the food that's being
Yeah,
eaten, and so there's atmosphere, there's menu,
and there's
a lot of
teaching.
layers.
Yeah.
There are years of teaching.
Of getting
that-
the right note.
Yeah,
Right.
and of recipes and how to work with them, and teaching, like Suzanne, who never cooked before. She was a fish sticks girl, but she wasn't a big cook.
That's
It's
right.
like
But
cooking composition.
The cooking
Uh-huh.
became part of her spiritual journey,
Right.
and so it's become something that builds all the love that she needs inside of it. And when she does that, then her cooking is harmonized and is also it creates exactly what we need. And it's like the things that Sandra does are very different, but then she comes into the kitchen and she's been one of the teachers. And then now Sandra, who had never done as much gardening as I have, then I was working with her, and now she takes care of the garden mostly. And then with Christina, it's like that whole collaborative that you are with the rhythms and the beats of way things should be, and
Flow
and
in and out those areas.
yeah,
Yeah.
the rhythms and the beats and the music within life. And you were trained in music. I was trained in music. It's like all of us have had different. We've all interested in music. We've all listened. Sandra listened to gobs of music when I met her. She got me back to listening to music, and Suzanne was such a lover of music. It was like she studied it all the time.
Yeah.
and I
She
was
can tell you anything about
Yeah.
it.
and I spent most of my life playing music and learning music. And what did you do, Robert?
I listened to the music and I played a lot, and then I also drew and painted a lot.
That's right.
And then I walked across the rooftops.
Oh my God, the music of that. Oh my
Chimney
God.
sweeps,
I found out that the word for music in Japanese, the symbology. I forget what the name of it's called when it's an ideogram or it's
Oh.
a picture.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
But the picture of the word music, it actually combines two words of joy and wellness.
Oh my
And
God.
I thought that was so beautiful. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's
What
got-
is what it does?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's got frequency, it's got light, it's got
Healing,
sound
yeah.
and healing and
Oh my gosh.
vibration,
All the
and I just
components.
love that they put that
That's
together.
wonderful.
Wow.
You came to the right family because we
Uh-huh.
all love that.
Uh-huh.
hmm
That's
I quit. I mean, the formal classical music I was used to and I played, but when I came into the group of women that Sandra was, that was something you played. This was the music that you live inside.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with music all over again in a very different way.
Your All's Creative Lives series, I'm really, actually Suzanne and I are excited to to listen to that one because I don't think we've listened to that particular
About
one.
money, yeah.
But one of the best things about that your series there was the music that you played.
Oh,
And it was
God.
always delightful to just to
Oh, thank
it was
you.
such always like a little mystery bag, like what's gonna come out of the mystery bag of
Yeah.
music, and it was always so beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
background.
And you could travel with it even just a
Oh,
short period of
God.
time.
Mm-hmm.
You are so
And that
right.
it was always like whether it was Indian music or I mean all the different variations of
We were
the
probably one of the.
eclectic group of
Yeah.
music
Yes.
was just
I bet we were one of the
awesome.
few DJs that ever had music playing while we were talking.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, usually
She knew
they
the value
they
of
separate
that.
separate it out,
Wow.
Oh, we
Yeah.
just couldn't.
Exactly.
We
couldn't.
write to music. We
Yeah.
paint to music.
but it's part of the
It's
background
part of
or
our life. And
foreground.
I, when I met the Loops women, music was part of their meditation, part of their life. But it was like I gobbled it all up. It became, I listened to it constantly all day long. Everywhere I went, I listened to, it was like the music that I had wanted when I was young.
Yeah.
It was all there. It was
Yeah.
all
Well, and
there.
it's like I think the music in the background of any words that are just powerful and new patterns of words or anything, the music opens you up to receive it.
Oh, you're
And
right.
it's like it starts unlocking unconsciously in your body, your spirit, your mind, your emotions, the things that would constrict around the new words that are coming into your ears, you know?
Mhm.
And so it opens you up and makes you more available to new information and to new words and new ideas. And I just think it's a profound thing, and not everybody knows how to do that or the importance of doing it when you are sharing work.
Well, that's why you fell in love with Christina.
Absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
why she could heal you, because she healed you in the way that your
Yeah.
body can heal.
That's right.
Because you've
I
always
could
loved
open
music.
to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
You did, me too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And she was totally music.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Mhm.
part of
Mhm.
Creative.
everything.
Yeah.
Creative.
So it was wonderful
Thank you.
to have Christina come into our family, because you were, not everybody would love music like we do.
Mm.
You know, they'd be offended if you put music on.
Right.
And that was not, we didn't need that kind of spirit.
Don't make
Yes.
sound. Don't make sound.
Mhm.
We're not here to be silent.
Yep.
I love that.
What I found reading, looking at this and listening to everybody, two forms of composition that I've come into in this summer.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
the whole actually for as long as we've been doing the long spoon, because I never, I have changed so much from the beginning of offering a blog. Always loved everybody's blogs and your all's blogs, but I never saw
Oh, no, you
myself
did a
as
blog.
doing-
It was on Scraps,
Yeah, well, just scraps. Yeah,
and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was on Fiverr.
But that was fun to have
Mhm.
that come back into my life, and I realized that the composition, so much of this is when I hear a title for a composition, and it feels like it says inherently correct, just right off, but I have no idea what I'm going to write.
And
Oh,
that's
what's
different
coming.
for you.
You bet. I mean, I have no notes, no little ideas stuck over here and there. And if I try to do that, man, it changes. I've even had them actually where they just disappeared because I wasn't on the right track. I was trying to create,
Yeah.
some words or this dramatic
Yeah.
thing. And so once the components are lined up, they feel inherently correct. And boy, has that taken. I've loved it, and I am proud to be able to write some pieces for the long spoon.
And that's so
Mhm.
beautiful.
And then the other composition is, I've been reading lots of gardening books and how they plan it and set it, have this little plan here and here. But working with you, Suzanne, you created compositions in those troughs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, within an afternoon, she created at least 12 to 13 different compositions of flower arrangements where the flowers all are friends with each other. They're not, a whole set of daisies
symbiotic
and
symphony.
Oh, that's
here and
beautiful.
there, and she's
Aw.
composed all this, and so that's opened up a new level of understanding for myself of how Gaia and the plant world really need to be together.
Wow.
You can't separate the trees from the plants, from the flowers or the vegetables. I mean, the vegetables are having so much fun being in with daisies and
Herbs.
well, all these beautiful flowers.
Nasturtiums, yeah.
Yeah, but they're all in there together,
Calendulas.
and that is a composition.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So it's
That's so true.
it is. It's just. But
I
it's
thought went a little too wild, but I understand it now. It's just really,
no.
On a feeling level, it's really powerful.
It
You can
is.
feel the difference.
And as
Oh my gosh.
the harvester or one of the harvester people, it's a really interesting, fabulous practice because what you've created, in my head I keep hearing it's like an Easter egg hunt because if I'm going out to harvest dill, I have to. It makes me go through the entire garden.
Yes.
All the troughs, all the different, even in ground, because there is dill planted and tucked in all the different areas in the garden. And it's like a little hunt.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's surprising. It's like, oh, there you are. You're in here too. Oh, look at you. And it's like, and then it's so fun, like if there's one that I've missed, a location that I didn't know it was growing, and then I'm doing something else and I suddenly discover it, it's like, oh, there you are. It's like these little surprises, and it's like, oh, I better get you before you go to seed. You started growing without me knowing it.
I remember one summer we were going
I
to
never
one of
would
the
think
troughs.
that you would talk like that.
Oh,
Years
so
ago,
sweet.
I love it.
Yeah.
So delicious. But that we had found in one of the troughs, there was this one section that I don't think we had ventured into, but all of a sudden we lifted something up, and there was the biggest kale we ever saw.
Yes,
yes,
it was
that's
like,
the way I thought.
where did that
Yeah.
come from? When
Under
did
the
that
tomato.
go? God! And so it's great sometimes if you
remember
don't
that.
find things because
Yeah, because
then
it allows it to
you know,
really come
or that
into
one
it.
time we found the hugest cucumber at the end of the season. It was like this big. And it was like, where the heck have you been? It was just hanging out near a hose.
Oh.
Incognito.
I mean, it's just so
I mean,
fun.
that was just all last year.
Yeah.
Is that
That
where
was
the tail
so-
was hiding under the
That's
Yeah,
fun to
it
hear
was,
about.
right.
Just last year, so just in a year's time, everybody's hanging, all the Swiss chards hanging out
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
the
Say,
Oh,
snap
wow.
peas, and I mean, I had the same thing today with the garden with
Oh yeah, I've been
harvesting.
trying to
I
harvest
had
all
to
the
keep
peas.
going and going until I made sure I covered every
And those greens
every
are s-
composition.
those greens are so tender.
Yeah.
They really
Oh,
add
that Swiss
so
chard,
much.
I know.
Yeah,
We
it's
just
the
had it
best.
tonight. It was so good.
I did see the fun of, we put all the cilantro in one big trough, so you can just, just grab big handfuls.
You can cilantro
And,
pie.
and we keep, we get all the greens, and today I saw the cilantro in one of the little troughs, and nobody had harvested, and she was making coriander seeds.
Oh,
And
it was so
beautiful. It's-
yeah,
it's like
that's all the
They're in
different-
different places where some of them
Yeah.
grow longer,
Yes.
and then others are harvested more like
Uh-huh.
that.
Right? It's like, oh.
Oh, our coriander's coming on.
I know, you've
And we
helped
know
me a
how to
lot,
use
because
all
today I
of
thought maybe it
It's
was
so
a big mess.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so cool because there's different parts of, especially the herbs that are useful for different applications, and it's so neat to just allow certain ones to fulfill that,
Mm-hmm.
and then other ones fulfill the purpose of, the fresh, just, doing it right fresh onto a salad or eggs or whatever, like the cilantro. And then the others let Nick go to seed to have the coriander seeds to cook with.
It kind
And
of reminds me of like
So fun.
how we are in those same processes at times, where it's like
Ooh.
we're at different phases of growth, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like
Yeah.
sometimes we can relate to what it feels like when you're bolting,
Yeah.
or you know, if you're just sprouting, or you know, you're wanting to emerge and
You're fragile.
Or make
or
your
yeah, or
seeds.
it's just rained and you feel kind of wilty, and, you know, bent over.
Oh, I love that.
But
That
when
is
you
beautiful.
said that, that reminded me of another point that I noticed where it says each element must find its rightful place
Right.
within the composition. And it struck me that that really goes back to alchemy, because
Oh,
all
yeah.
the elements that we've been studying and learning and living inside of have to find their rightful place. All of the elements of alchemy need to have their place, and they need to be in their right place and position and timing for something, and that can shift and flow and change, but all the elements need to be included and not shunned or be afraid of, or you know, okay, that particular element isn't always comfortable, you know, or but it has to find its position, or the rest of the composition of your life or whatever you're working on isn't going to be balanced. It's not going to be holding that rhythm and resonation of truth.
It's
Oh.
funny that you said that, 'cause
That's
it
beautiful.
reminds me of what we were talking about today, about like how it's a scorcher today,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
really
makes
hot.
you think alchemically
Yeah.
we need the scorching.
Mhm.
You know, it
You
needs
need
to be
that
this
Yeah, we were
hot,
all
and,
outside in it.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
didn't
need that
shun it.
heat.
so that even there's a place even for that, even
Mhm.
for scorching hot sweaty days.
Mhm.
Well, we found that also if we, with a trough that we have with a moon bath, if we get in there early, then what'll happen and get our whole body wet is that we'll go to work and paint, and we'll be comfortable all day
Right, 'cause-
because the clothes stay cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If you run and change, them off you might not be, but if you
Yeah.
stay wet,
That core.
then if your core is cool enough, so we were comfortable, and we were
luckily,
outside
yeah.
painting and writing and everything, and we were amazed. And then if we needed to get back into water, we could. It was just right there. But what I did today is that we had so much fun going to Chicky Lake to swim, and I just absolutely felt the healing of that, being able to get out in the water and just paddle and let my legs just paddle. And it was remarkable because I felt better that night, and my feet and legs had been kind of having a time of it, and I thought, well, I could get out there every day if we get out early. But this morning, Robert and I, we went to bed about 10, and except for going to the bathroom, we slept all night, and till 8 this morning. There was no getting up at 6. It was like,
It's like you needed that.
yeah, we needed that because we thought, well, we could always get up at 6 and run over to Chicky and swim and then be back before anybody needed the car, and then we would have that wonderful exercise. But I got into the trough and I can do the very same paddling in that trough.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
short, I guess,
Yeah.
but I can fully put my legs out and just paddle
Great.
for as
On
long
the
as I
side or
want.
on
So
the-
I did that
So
today.
see, so you
That's
did
brilliant.
you transcended mere arrangement. So instead of
Yeah.
having
Oh.
an arranged schedule
Yes.
of okay,
And
well I'm going to
everything
do
has to
this
look
and do
just
that,
like
and it's
this.
like you intuitively. What is it? Intuitive listening, or what's the word?
I think the
Intuitive?
more intuitively we live, the more intuitive answers come to us that are in place, and they're like miracles.
And I think the reason a lot of people don't
That is huge.
a lot
Huh?
of people don't live intuitively is because this last sentence right here, the intuitive has an inherent order within it, and most people don't think that's the case. They think the intuitive could be just a wild hair or take them off on a
Right.
tangent, so they don't so they have a fear of the intuitive because they don't think there's an inherent order within it.
Wow.
But actually, and in truth, there is a profound level
Yeah.
of inherent order within the intuitive.
That's a really
That's
good
the
point.
flip. That's the change that's starting to happen.
We found that in our
the
living.
the ease that is coming is because the intuitive is rising up, and
in society.
and the other has been so overtaxed, so overdone for millennia after millennia, that people kind of come up above ground, especially after the pandemic, and started to see we need to reassess. What can we do that's different that will bring us difference.
We need
And
to
the-
reset.
we need a reset, and the intuitive will bring an inherent order.
And it can be trusted.
And it can be
you can
trusted.
you can trust
and that's
it.
what
Yeah.
people are stepping into.
Yeah.
They're
So
stepping
that
into
that's a
that.
big part of what July is about. July, 4th of
Wow.
July,
That's
freedom.
Yeah.
You step into something new and different, and if you
Well,
can just
we
rest
hung
into
them. We hung the new.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
We did.
avatars
New pieces.
on July 4th
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the house, the
galaxy
ones that we
room.
had completely done,
Mm-hmm.
and we said, "My God, they're about freedom."
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
all their
Oh, that's right.
mapping
It
and
was
all
on the
their
4th of
patterns
July.
are about freedom.
Wow.
I'm excited about them.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to the remainder of the month is going to be a very exciting month, and the ease is coming. You just have to rest into the intuitive to feel the order. Of
We've
what
had
that's
enough
gonna
birthdays for
Oh my
everything
gosh.
to be birthed.
Celebration,
Oh my
celebration,
God!
celebration.
That
Yep.
Robert and the two boys,
Mm-hmm.
Daniel and Ethan, had their birthdays in
Yep.
June, but it's probably a month, on the edge of a month
Yeah.
between their birthdays and the last of them.
And I think everyone should have a
Then
month-long
Suzanne had
birthday.
her birthday
Uh-huh.
in June,
Mhm.
and then the 1st of July, Christina had her birthday, and
Mhm.
then mine is just the end of July. So in this time, we've had so many, and then the birthday of our country.
Yeah.
We've had. Did I miss any other birthdays?
No, but we had Father's Day in
And
there.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
Hoppy's birthday.
Yeah.
at some
And
point.
Hoppy's birthday, of course. My
Yep.
goodness.
All
I
there.
know.
So what a month.
But
I
now.
know, I'm
That's for sure.
celebrating. And go ahead.
I was just going to mention when you guys were just talking about the inherent. What's it?
Inherent
Intuitive
order.
Yeah,
At the
inherent
bottom
order.
line there.
That I love how the garden has helped show us that it's a part of nature to have chaos and to have things get turned upside down and switched around and have things be topsy-turvy and flippy-floppy and timey-wimey and all these different ways, and that's how new comes
Mhm.
about.
That's
And
how beauty comes.
Yeah.
That's inherent order.
So that's like
Yes.
it's amazing
Chaos
how the
is
garden
order.
teaches that.
Yeah.
Teaches us that.
Yeah.
So if you're if you enjoy plants and garden and doing that kind of process, that you can maybe embrace change easier. By
But you can't
having-
start a garden if you don't turn up the ground.
Yeah, right.
Mm-mm.
Yep. So,
Well, and there's the whole thing about the inherent order is actually in the position and place that
Ooh.
you have in the integrity of yourself and your own unique original pattern. But how that manifests and expresses itself has to be open to the flow. It
Yeah.
can change. It can fluctuate. It can flow into different things. It doesn't mean that a position in place is locked down. It's
Yes.
locked down inside of yourself and how you express yourself and your integrity with staying true to that. But how it expresses itself is like infinite and could really fluctuate, and that composition can then look very different because of how you're moving your
Oh, that's beautiful.
that integrity,
Mhm.
that position in place that is locked inside of yourself. And then the other thing that struck me when Robert made the great point about the ease that's really what all this is about now, and this
Yeah.
whole long spoon and what we're moving is that it's, to me, it reminded me that when you follow where the ease is, then that's a sure sign that you're in position and place.
Oh,
That's like a signal
yes.
to yourself. If you're trying to learn and trying to subtly lock in what your position and place is, then when you are looking for where the ease is and what feels easy and not like you're stretching beyond yourself and you're overextending yourself, you're trying to be something else, then you've lost the ease and the flow,
Wow.
which is a signal that you've moved out of your own position and place. And I'm
Oh,
just
that's
really
beautiful.
grateful for that insight and that reminder, because that's a really great way to signal yourself, to kind of bring yourself back to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Mm.
See, this work is like a pop-up book.
I know.
Look what one paragraph can pop up.
Ah,
That's for
right.
sure.
oh, God. I love that.
Mhm.
So true.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Well, anybody else have
Got
anything
more
they
to
want to share?
add?
Is everybody?
I think we hit a few profound levels.
Yes, we are. We're
Well,
kind of
and
like in the
the-
mystery.
I will
Yeah.
only just say that before we were starting to record, we were all recognizing and registering how, again, these long spoons are such an amazing way to get perspective about the volume of work that you all have created
Oh.
and the
Yeah.
diversity and the different expressions of it. That there is so much that is pulled that we even forget. We're so up close in it, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, for years and days, and you know, it all evolves and it informs us. But to step back, this long spoon like gives you this perspective in a distance to see what the volume is, like, just so unbelievable, of the volume of things that you have written and photographed and painted and collaged and, you know, concepts, and you've pulled all of these each month, and it's like a life in a distance. It gives you
Aw.
perspective to see just how much volume of expression from your position and place, you know?
I think we're trying to say it's a big spoon.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. It
Yeah.
was
I just
beautiful.
wanted
Thank
to bring
you.
that
I need
out
to hear
because
that
there's just
too.
a lot to register. Of
It's
what's
a
there.
lot of work. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes us
I mean,
days.
it does.
But guess what? We're archiving our lives
yes, you
Mhm.
are.
from
Mhm.
month to month. Ever since we've been doing it, we've been archiving all the work in different levels, but we've been actually archiving the activities of our life.
Mhm.
Like each month, it's some other
Yeah,
thing we're doing in the
seasons,
garden.
the different seasons.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
Me
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
this has been a very lovely
Thank you, Suzanne.
tabletop
Thank you,
conversation.
Christina. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Yes,
guys.
thank you, Suzanne.
We're looking forward to diving into this spoon.
Oh.
Yes, indeed.
Me too.
Okay, well, I think that's it for this
Mm-hmm.
month, and then we'll enjoy going through the long spoon, taking in the flip books, taking in the collages, taking your time, giving yourself time with it.
Yeah, you can return over and over again
Yes, do that.
Every month.
Yep.
every month.
Okay, well,
Okay.
until next month then. Enjoy.